Well, as you guys know, we've been working on the logging railroad.
Oh boy.
It's turned into a bigger project than I thought, but one of the things that happened is we came up short on rail.
Oh, gotta love it when that happens.
I laid this switch, and that was the end of that. And before we can proceed, we need to get some more Code 215 rail. And Adam Pinales built his entire garden railroad
Right.
out of 215, and he just tore it all out.
Oh, that's right.
And he said, "Come on down, I'll give you all the rail you need."
Come on, get on there right.
So this is a consolidation?
Yeah, C16.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna be that's my baby. This is the one I've been working on forever.
Yeah. Anyway, any excuse to go see Adam and see what he's been up to on his 7.5-inch gauge railroad.
That's right, and he's always up to something.
He's always up to something, and he's decided to tear that railroad out too, because he wants to replace it with plastic ties. And so this new switch here has been built on plastic ties. He's not going to tear everything out, but he's going to take some of it out. But these are his plastic ties. He just got in this huge, massive quantity of plastic ties.
Talking into making a detour.
So where did they come from then?
Allen Models, which is like Dayton, Nevada.
Oh, I thought it was Ohio.
That's where they're manufactured.
Okay. Dayton's there's
Yeah,
a
but
Dayton
there's
in
a-
each. Yeah,
yeah.
okay. Dayton, Nevada.
Yeah, that's where Allen Models is, and they're their West Coast distributor.
Okay.
So
Now the part he's tearing out, sadly, is the road crossing here.
Oh no.
Yeah, this was the very first thing he put in, were these road crossings across his two driveways. These will be the new road crossings.
Oh.
But I've told everybody I possibly can get to listen to me, never use concrete roadbed or anything like that, because the ground moves and it shifts and it breaks your cement.
I figured, I've got 3-track yard on the other side. I probably should have a siding on this side.
Uh-huh. Is that what the switch is for here?
Yeah.
So it
That's
goes
what those two switches.
Ne-
So I'm gonna, when I cut the concrete out, I'll cut it out big enough for a switch on either side. And they'll give me a 25-foot siding.
Got it.
So clearance to clearance. That and the whole thing, when it settled, it settled to where this is a low spot, so water gets right here. So I got thinking I need drainage here anyway. And so if I cut it out, I'm not going to put concrete back in. I'll just compact it really good and just leave it as drainage.
I've seen so many people put in cement roadbed for their garden railroad, and it's like that works for about 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
And then you're tearing it all back out.
Yeah,
It's something that you
moves
thought
too
was
much.
going to be permanent, but the ground is in constant state of movement, and if you
Yeah.
put cement on top of
It's
it, it
solid.
just breaks the
doesn't-
cement.
It doesn't move.
Now, the last time we were here, he had started on this waterfall feature.
Man, what a job.
And look, he's put in the abutments and piers for the bridge.
Nice.
And that's going to be his next construction, is to get the bridge over the waterfall, and then he's going to build the rest of the railroad out around what will be the swimming pool.
And the way I'm doing everything that I'm doing has to be permitted, because everything's a retaining wall. The whole tunnel structure is a retaining. They're considering it a retaining wall, and because it's technically it's going to hold dirt.
Yep.
Which I kind of argued with them, but I'll just play their game. And then the pool and everything, I got all the plans done for it, and just waiting to get the permits. And as soon as the permits come, we're starting to dig. I've got 3,500 cinder blocks ordered already.
Wow.
To build the tunnel, and then the turntable pit and the roundhouse foundation that goes right here.
Right in here.
Yeah, like the turntable. So there's 3-track. It'll be a 3-track yard back here. The main line running right down the middle. 1 track on the one side, and it'll have a spur off to the loading dock. And then the track that comes in here, I'll have 1 track that comes right to here, and this is about the center of the 12-foot turntable right here. And then right there, you can't really see it. I had it painted out for a minute, but there's a 3-stall roundhouse that goes right there. And I'm digging it down, so it'll be scale. I'll build it to 2.5-inch scale, but we'll step down into it, so we'll be inside of and all our trains will be at about this level.
Better.
Here,
Yeah.
so we'll be able to work on them. And there's a little bit of water there in the spring if we get a good snowstorm, but it doesn't last long. I mean, this is a desert.
Yeah. Well, since he's putting in this big swimming pool and putting in the 7.5-inch gauge, he's tearing out the whole garden railroad.
Goodness.
So he said, come on out and I'll give you all the rail that you need, because he laid it all in code 215. And he is planning to go back to an outdoor railroad, but again, never put code 215 outdoors.
Right.
It's just going to give you grief, because you're going to be running over rocks and snails and things. And so he said, here, you can have all my code 215 if you want it. And only now did I realize this isn't going to work.
Oh, why?
He used aluminum rail,
Oh, dear.
which is perfect for outside.
Right.
But it just hadn't even occurred to me that this isn't going to do us any good, because we're using nickel silver.
Ooh, that won't match.
No, and you first of all, I don't want aluminum inside the house, but secondarily, you hook those two things together, and the electrolysis eats away the aluminum.
Uh-huh.
You've been there and done that.
Yeah, the old aluminum wiring saga, yeah.
You know, the funny thing is, we could probably lay our outdoor railroad in 215 because it's elevated everywhere.
Right.
And so that's a place you could get away with it, but we've chosen to use 250 because this stuff won't clear Bachman flanges.
Oh, gee.
And so, wow, it's a grand offer, but
It won't work.
It just won't work for us. But we can still check on the progress on all his other projects.
So the tunnel starts right over there, right about the end of that green pipe, and it'll go all the way to right about even with the house. It's like 38 feet, and from there I build it up. The tunnel will be 6 foot on the inside, and then I'm backfilling all the dirt from the pool all back into there. So that fence line will end up being a cinder block retaining wall, as well as the tunnel structure. So I'm backfilling the whole thing. So that'll all be, because I thought about doing one of those fake rock mountains, but I wanted planter boxes, and I just couldn't. I was like, you know what, it's just gonna be too much work to build planter boxes into the fake rock and everything. So I decided, well, let's just backfill the whole thing.
Yeah.
So it's all dirt, and I can plant on it and everything. And in that corner back there will be the pump house for the water slide and the swimming pool and all that, and also storage for yard equipment and whatnot. The slide will start up top there, come down, and right in this big center section right here will be a 10-foot deep swimming hole, and it's just a big swimming hole.
Yeah.
It's not the big pool that I designed because that was just, that was an Adam plan that just got way bigger than, But the cool thing is I'll have the big swimming hole, and then I'll have a big hot tub higher that will drop, and I'll have like a wading pool style river for like littler kids to play in and stuff, and then it'll fall into the big swimming hole, which we'll be able to jump into and dive because it'll be 10 foot deep. So, and then right here will be a big a pergola with my outdoor kitchen, and the gas line, that's your fire pit, and the grill. And so I've got all the utilities dug, ready to go. I'm just waiting for the permits so we can get the tractor in here and start going to town.
Got it. One of the things I've been dying to see here is his new wheel truck.
Wow, look at that.
He 3D printed this.
Oh, wow. That's even more awesome.
It's just amazing that you can 3D print something this large. He's not going to run it because it isn't all that strong. It's just made out of that plastic material. These are just the patterns that are going to be used to pull rubber molds. There's a company just down the street from him that does bronze statues for artists and stuff.
Oh.
And they looked at this and said, we can pull molds and we can do lost wax and cast it in steel.
Oh, nice.
Huh? So that's just going to be amazing. And then certain parts will have to be machined, and it'll be fit with wheel bearings behind the completely functional journal box covers.
That's amazing.
Just like a real arch bar truck. This is the nicest 2.5-inch scale, 7.5-inch gauge wheel truck I've ever seen.
Right.
And that's what he's doing. He's doing the 2.5-inch scale railroad so that it's a model of a 3-foot gauge prototype.
Oh.
where a lot of guys do 1.5-inch scale, 1/8 scale standard gauge models, and run that on their 7.5-inch gauge track.
Goodness.
It's a little confusing.
A little bit.
But look at the casting marks here.
Isn't that cool?
And he's put all the actual casting marks that you would find on a Rio Grande arch bar truck. That these were cast in the Denver shops. And one of the fun things that he's done is all of these castings got a date.
Isn't that cool?
And he put his birthday.
There you go.
So
now we know when to wish him a happy birthday.
And he said it's exactly 100 years off. The wheel implies 1882 and not 1982.
Well, there you go.
Anyway, here's a comparison between a 2.5-inch scale narrow gauge truck and a 1.5-inch scale standard gauge truck.
Oh,
look at the difference.
That's way different.
Yeah, because the scale is just so much bigger. But that's because Adam is doing a 3-foot gauge prototype instead of a standard gauge.
I see.
And it just makes the model so much bigger.
No kidding.
And I think so much cooler.
I like the look of it.
It's just really neat. And it's really stable in how it runs and everything. This is the same scale that Van used on his giant 10-mile railroad. I'll put a link in the description so you guys can find that if you haven't seen it. But Van has been looking at these wheel trucks and going, well, yeah, I'd like to get about 10 pair of these.
Right.
So I don't think he'll have any trouble selling these.
No, not even.
Once he gets them on the market.
Right.
Well, anyway, the other thing we wanted to check out here is Adam's downstairs railroad, which he has changed over to HOn3.
Oh, my.
Last time we were here, it was a gigantic N-scale Empire, but check this out.
Oh, there you go.
It's a brand new layout, and it's all HOn3.
I've ran this back and forth 1,000 times.
I know.
That's the way of it.
There you go. Whoop, or not. Come on, be nice.
You need to keep alive.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I have no idea. I've thought the original plan was to do Ridgeway right here because I can really do Ridgeway justice in this space. So I bought all the structures for Ridgeway. Got the depot, the roundhouse, the brick office building, all the nice stuff, the rare kits too. But then I get looking at it and the more I look at pictures, I'm like, God, it's kind of, it's a cool place, but it's kind of barren. It's like, and my whole railroad's kind of barren, so it's like, even though I've got the High Line here, this is the Animas River Gorge right here, like Rockwood Cut is right there and it comes out. So I got, a lot of this is the Durango, the Silverton line. Why don't I do Durango right here, but the part of Durango that nobody does, like the North Yard, so I have the city street right here with the buildings, like the Strader Hotel right here, and then all the tracks behind it. And then I have a lot of cool stuff to look at right here. But then I got thinking, that's a lot of modeling. But then I've also thought about Gatto, Pagosa Junction. Because I measured it out, and I can almost do it just about to scale right here as well.
Yeah.
And it works out perfect. I'd do it from the backside, so the tank would be like right here, and the depot would be right here, and you'd be sitting on the road, which is, so you'd be seeing it the way you'd normally see it. The bridge would be right there, the depot about right there, and I measured it out, and it works. And I've got those structures too. I started collecting Rio Grande depots. I was like,
why am I not surprised?
Why not? You got Gatto, I've got Chama, I've got Durango, I've got Silverton, I've got Ridgeway, RGS. I've got a few RGS depots. I need help.
You and me.
I need to go to the Betty Ford Clinic or something.
You're worse. I thought we were bad. You're much worse.
I'm horrible.
And check out what he's got here.
Oh my, look at that.
Ah, yes, a brass Rio Grande Southern caboose.
Right.
Just like the one you've got.
Yes, mine's a little bit bigger.
And we all know you love cabooses.
Oh, yes.
Or caboose.
Caboose, caboose.
That's it. And the trucks aren't mounted because they're not painted yet. I mean, other than that.
They're there. Well, he didn't do the rigging underneath, did he?
I think he did.
What scale did he do then?
This is
20.
1 to really? Oh, wow, nice.
That's neat.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
Fantastic. I mean, the only thing you need to really replace is the couplers, but the couplers really aren't that bad either. You know?
No.
But yeah, to me, it's just that you can't beat that one. That's the one I kept.
Yeah.
That and my short caboose.
Yeah.
And then the only thing I have left in 1 to 20 is I got the San Juan up here. And then I have a freight train, a pretty substantial freight train, my C16 and the 268, and I just got the Eureka as well.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I finally snagged a Eureka.
Well, back to our reality.
There it is.
We've still got some oddball things going on with our railroad. This is in the way of the logging railroad.
It sure is.
It's been hanging there since 1978.
Oh my.
I think. And A, it doesn't work very well, and B, it's right in the middle of the logging railroad, so we got a new one.
Oh, yeah. It was time.
So Seth is going to install the new one here and tear the old one out, and the old one will be scrapped out and turned into Chevys or something like that.
I'd make a good Chevy.
It'd make a darn good Chevy. A lot better Chevy than furnace.
Yes.
We're gonna see if that's stupid or smart.
So the new one is not only more efficient, it's much smaller.
Thank goodness. That thing takes up a lot of space.
Well, and it's hanging in front of the railroad.
It
That's
is,
just
yeah.
unacceptable.
Right.
So the new one will be tucked up against the ceiling and will be part of the lighting. The lighting for the railroad will be up there too. And this will be completely out of the way of the railroad.
Oh, that'll be good.
And so that'll be a huge step in the right direction. And there it is gone.
Wow.
Looks better already.
It does.
Even though it sort of looks like a horrible accident that just happened.
Yes.
And there's the new one. Much, much tighter up to the ceiling, much smaller. And the most interesting thing is when you turn up the thermostat,
It works.
it comes on.
Imagine that.
And look at all the space now for the railroad. It won't be hanging down in front of the railroad at all. And so now when we bring the whole logging railroad up here and set it on the shelf brackets and build the giant canyon over here, it'll all look really nice with the lower railroad, and it should all just come together and be fantastic.
I hope so.
You got that light there, you got 4 lights in the building.
And right in the middle of the furnace demolition, Steve showed up with the finished sand house.
Oh my, look at that.
He's been working on this for, I don't know, like 2 months. He's building us the Chama sand house.
That's neat.
He saw that, I've been working on the Chama coaling tower there, and he said, it needs the sand house next to it. And I said, yeah, and someday I'll get to that. And he said, I'll get to that.
Yes.
So he immediately went to work cobbling together, building really out of wood, the Chama sand house.
Right.
Which is your basic Rio Grande sand house. And he did a lot of research to try to figure out exactly what went on inside the building, and there really isn't a whole lot of information on that.
No.
I mean, everybody knows how it worked, but nobody's completely sure exactly what was in there. So there's been a good deal of improvising, but there has to be anyway, because the footprint for this guy is much smaller than an actual building. But he's used various construction materials that he's found, and look what else he brought.
Isn't that neat? That's my. I just love that.
This is built out of that Monogram 124 scale Mack truck. And we've got like 5 of them upstairs in the attic, and we should do a Tuesday show on that.
You're right.
But he took 2 of those and said, I'm going to turn that into a dually axle, oil carrying, transformer carrying, sort of junkyard doggy.
It's the all-purpose vehicle.
But you can see here how he spliced together 2 of these monogram kits. The monogram has a 4-cylinder engine. He took 2 of the 4-cylinder engines and turned that into a 6-cylinder
Well, there you go.
engine. And it's a really plausible looking 6-cylinder engine.
Right.
Look how he built the exhaust manifold.
That's, wow.
You'd never guess that's built out of 2 different exhaust manifolds from 2 different kits. But that's a rather perfect looking 6-cylinder engine out of a Mack truck.
It looks great.
It looks really nice. Of course, while Steve's been building this, he's also been working on his O-scale railroad.
Right. He stays busy.
He's doing what we're all doing.
Right.
Especially those of us who are retired. He's perfecting the high art of screwing around.
Absolutely.
And that's what we should all be working on. And it looks to me like Steve just about has that down.
He's got it down pat.
So he dropped this stuff off and he was off to work on the HOn3 part of his O-scale railroad. And he's continuing the rip out of the old railroad while he does that. So we needed to get over there and do a show
Right.
on his progress over there. So we've actually got a playlist that I put together of all of the construction stuff on the logging railroad. There's also a playlist on just large-scale models in general. But the link to the playlist for the construction of the logging railroad will be at the end of the video, which is coming up right now.
There you go.
So if you haven't been over to the channel, pop over to the channel, and if you're not a subscriber, here comes the blue button. Right there.
There it is.
Well, we're not sure how you found this video on the internet. We hope you didn't find it boring, and we will see you here next week as we work on the engine shop a little bit. See you then.
Bye.
Bye-bye.